This is the Mouse and Men, where we explore the grown-up side of Disney. Find us online at themouseandmen.com, where you can get our top 10 things for grown-ups to do in Walt Disney World. While you're there, you can find links to all of our social media profiles, our YouTube channel where we broadcast the podcast, and our new TMAM digest, where we've got little kind of mini blogs. They're not too long, covering a lot of the topics that we cover here on the podcast, but also some special things as well. So go check it out all over at themouseandmen.com. I am Bradley. I'm here with my co-caster, Chris. Chris, how you doing?
Good, buddy. Yeah, I love that the digest, as well as kind of what we're doing today on Newswire, is kind of like little snippets. I want to give you some brief things to make you enjoy your Disney experience that much more. And for us, when we talk about something here on the podcast, oftentimes people say, can you go into a bit more detail, or I would love to hear more about that. And so the digest is a cool place to say that, like, if we're trying to keep the podcast episodes within a certain time frame, but there's more information to give, that's just wonderful to put over on the digest so people can continue to learn and dive in at their own will or at their leisure.
Yeah. So today, like you said, is a Newswire episode. We're just going to be covering all the news that we feel worthy of repeating. The bigger highlights for the month of July here today. So let's jump right in. First, with movies, with Jungle Cruise releases Friday, July 30th. I am really excited about this. The more trailers, behind the scenes, interviews that I see, the more that I think this is going to be the one to cause me to pay for Premier Access. It's got serious Pirates of the Caribbean vibes, as in The Curse of the Black Pearl, not the other ones that, they're good. They don't live up to the Black Pearl. But I'm a huge Pirates fan, so I think I'm going to be spending $30 this weekend to watch the Jungle Cruise on opening weekend.
Okay, sure. And I was going to say, in comparison to that, my family and I, and we're going to do an episode coming up into the future on the Mouse and Men on this, but my family and I finally made it back to the theaters to see Black Widow a few weeks ago. And just loved it. We, as a family, we love our Black Widow. We love that movie. We love all the Marvel movies. We love going to the theater. And so it was just a no-brainer. So instead of paying for that premiere access on Disney Plus, we actually went and forked over the cash to see it in the theaters. Now, what was interesting is on 2019, I got a bunch of gift cards for Christmas to movie theaters. So some on like Fandango, some to AMC. And so I can utilize this. So we can still currently see movies relatively cheaply in the theaters because of all the gift cards that we have. And so we're going to do that. We think that we have this tradition that we do when the previews come on, is the four of us sit there and we're eating our popcorn and Coke. And when a preview comes on, we will thumbs up or we'll thumbs down, depending on if we want to see the movie. Ooh. And if we have like, 2 or 3 thumbs up, or all 4 of us thumbs up, and that means we're all going to go back to the movies and see it. So the other day, seeing Black Widow was the first time that we had to do it. And we all thumbs up the preview for Jungle Cruise, which means you may be watching it in the comfort of your own home, which is amazing. We may be going back to the theater again for another Disney option, which is Jungle Cruise coming up. So we are pumped for this movie.
Awesome. Well, if I do watch it this next weekend, I won't give away any spoilers until it's released, not on Premier Access. I think it's just kind of
that's a good
rule
point.
of thumb, because not everybody wants to pay the $30 for a movie. But if you wait, it's just a few months, because just around the corner, August 27th, Cruella will be available on Disney Plus without the need for Premier Access. So end of August, you better believe that I'm going to be watching Cruella. I love all these character and villain backstory adaptations. I'm not a big fan of the live action remakes. In some ways, I'm like, why? Why do we need to do this?
Yeah.
It just doesn't appeal to me. But these, especially villain backstories, Maleficent. The first one was great. The second one was pretty good. Some of those really fun to watch. So I'm excited about Cruella, August 27th.
See, quickly, just tapping on that really fast. That's kind of my only hang up about Jungle Cruise is that the live action remakes I have enjoyed, but not loved. Based on some people like Jon Favreau, who did, I think, the Lion King remake and the Jungle Book remake, directed both of those. I'm a big Jon Favreau fan. Yeah. But those particular movies, although I enjoyed the visual spectacle of how lifelike you can do something like the Lion King or the Jungle Book live action, the stories didn't grab me as much as I wish that they would. Now, there have been some movies based on rides in the past. I'm talking to you, Haunted Mansion, starring Eddie Murphy, way back in the day, also didn't grab me. But this new iteration of the Jungle Cruise seems like, I mean, you put somebody with star power of The Rock or even Emily Blunt in there in the starring role. I've got a lot of expectations because I expect to see something of greatness when I see, The Rock do anything really. And I love Emily Blunt. So we're pumped to see it. With the, my kids don't have these expectations of rides based on movies or live action remakes kind of thing, but my wife and I do. But we are pumped for the potential that the Jungle Cruise may have. So going back there for a second, saw the premiere. It looked like that they did the premiere at Disneyland a couple nights ago. I think it was the Friday or Saturday night. So that would have made that the 23rd or the 24th. They did the actual premiere. Looked like they had such a blast there. So I'm excited about this Friday actually seeing it in the theaters while you watch it on Premiere Access. And I can't wait to discuss those differences coming up soon on an upcoming episode.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll just have to have some behind the scenes conversations through text as we're doing that. Also, Hall of Presidents is currently getting a new audio animatronic for Joe Biden. George Washington, Joe Biden are the ones who will be speaking. I thought there was a third, but now I'm second guessing myself.
Is it the classic Abraham Lincoln? Because he usually does some of the talking.
Yeah, I think so. But my research right before we went live didn't have him listed. So
gotcha.
I don't know. Maybe Honest Abe is on vocal rest. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to save those vocal cords after being almost closing in on 200 years old.
Right. Yeah.
But mad props for him for all the times that he has done it. I have heard a couple of rumors. Again, I saw briefly a picture of the animatronic Joe Biden, President Biden. And, but now I've also, like when I saw it, I was like, okay, cool. And I moved on, knowing that we would eventually talk about it. But now I'm seeing articles or things on Twitter being written about the Joe Biden animatronic in the Hall of Presidents looks more like when Jim Carrey was on Saturday Night Live doing an impression of Joe Biden than it does the actual Joe Biden. And I've even read somewhere that some people thought that, what's the guy's name? One of the CNN headline guys with the gray hair. I forget his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. He's one of CNN's big announcer guys. But he's probably in his mid 40s, but he's got a full head of like white gray hair. Yeah. I forget his name. But anyway, they're saying that Joe Biden looks more like Jim Carrey's version of Joe Biden than actual Joe Biden. Or, I can't remember. Why is his name? Anyway, he looks like other people, is what I'm trying to say. So we can move on because I can't remember the dude's name, but I'll remember it here in a couple minutes and shout it in the middle of one of the other news articles that we're talking about.
Yeah, but please just, interrupting Cal, just go for it. So Hall of Presidents should be opening back up soon with President Biden installed there.
Yes.
On to some more edible news. There is a limited edition Moana themed Dole Whip at the Polynesian.
At the Polynesian. Okay.
Yeah. At the Polynesian, it's pink. It's got an ice cream cone upside down. So it kind of looks like a Dole Whip ice cream cone that fell and hit the ground looks delicious. Over at
Anderson Cooper. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah.
Now we can move on.
I can see that. Well, you should have seen a Joe Biden animatronic picture just a few minutes ago. That is why the Anderson Cooper picture just kind of blew up on the screen right then.
Woo. Yeah.
But good job, Chris. Good memory.
I'm gonna go take a nap now.
Over at Epcot, Food and Wine Festival is happening. I'm trying to think. I don't know that I've ever been down there. Well, I've been down there during Food and Wine Festival, but I haven't been to Epcot. But it sounds delicious. We're going to have to make this happen.
I actually went back I believe it was the early to mid 2000s. And this was before my wisdom of Disney and specifically the Food and Wine Festival had been established, really. And I was there and wondered why all these different food options were here. But I stuck to my classics and didn't really try the things. And then later on learned that I was there at Epcot during Food and Wine Festival and just did not participate, even though it was all around me.
And this is exactly why we do this, because we don't want other people to be dumb and stupid like us.
Yes, exactly.
We're doing this for you. We are sharing our dumb moments so that you don't have to experience those.
So essentially the lessons that we could teach you are just stop at every pavilion that has food, get something. Just keep yourself full and hydrated as much as you can and bring a poncho. If you do those two things, you'll be full, dry, and happy.
Yeah. If you get a poncho with like a bib too, that kind of catches everything so that what misses your mouth as you're trying to eat just gets collected and you can snack on that in between food carts.
Okay, so here's what you could do. Take your poncho, and if it isn't currently raining, then you don't have to put your hood on, reverse the whole thing, use the front hood as like a bowl holder, and just put your face in it. You don't even have to use your hands.
That we're going to have to design I guess adult bibs, and it's just going to be a poncho that you wear backwards.
Right. Or a double hoodie. So it has the hood that you can wear if it's raining and the food trough version.
Yeah.
When you're eating.
Yeah. And maybe a bill that comes out over too to keep your food dry when it's raining.
Bravo. Yes. Love it.
Moving over to the Animal Kingdom, we got a couple new additions. About the time that our last Newswire was released, there was a new baby giraffe.
Oh, that's awesome.
But then just a week or two ago, a baby hippo and a baby gorilla were born within a day of each other. So lots of little ones run around the Animal Kingdom over there. Speaking of little ones, I guess, there's sculptures of 50 Disney characters that will be in the Walt Disney World parks all across the resorts for the 50th anniversary. 50 statues for 50 years. They've announced the first 4. These are going to be gold statues. Obviously, the first one they announced is Mickey Mouse. Then they announced Goofy. And then they announced 2 partner statues, like
2 pairs.
Yeah. The first pair being Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King, and the second one being Lumiere and Cogsworth from Beauty and the Beast. So we've got 4 statues announced, sculptures announced so far, for a total of 6 characters represented. I like that Disney likes to cheat with their characters too.
So I like also that the pairs seem like they make sense, because if you're having to debut your first 4 and you're trying to figure out who they are, Pumbaa shouldn't make the list. Timon shouldn't make the list, but Timon and Pumbaa, that makes sense because they were on screen as a pair. They worked together as a pair from a comedy duo perspective. And so who is Lumiere and Cogsworth as well, Beauty and the Beast. Like I could absolutely see having Belle have her own or Beast have his own. But those other less like marquee characters should absolutely have some recognition too. So Mickey makes total sense. Goofy, yeah, absolutely give him to. But then those pairs, I like, again, Disney cheating to be able to put in more characters. It makes sense to me that there are some people that are some characters you'd want to see combined with their more notable or combined on-screen characters that they are always around. Makes a lot of sense.
I'm wondering if they're going to have any trios, whether it be Huey, Dewey, Louie, or
well done saying that, by the way, without like
the Three Caballeros. You got some options there. Staying in the parks, specifically the Magic Kingdom, Disney is replacing, at least for this year, their Very Merry Christmas party with the Very Merriest After Hours party. It's going to be select nights through December 21st, which is very interesting. So November and most of December. They'll have special fireworks, special treats. I'm sure characters will be dressed up in their Christmas finest. So like there was Boo Bash that took the place of Not So Scary Halloween Party, doing kind of the same thing for Christmas as well. Then over at Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, they're going to have special projections on the Tree of Life for Animal Kingdom and on Tower of Terror for Hollywood Studios. I've seen these projections at the Magic Kingdom on the castle in combination with fireworks, but then I've seen it at Animal Kingdom, which is pretty awesome because it doesn't disturb the animals like fireworks can, but it gives this cool illusion on the Tree of Life, looking like it actually comes to life.
Hold on. So by that rationale, do they not typically have an Animal Kingdom evening fireworks show because of the animals?
Correct. They don't do fireworks, but they've got other things. For a short time, they had like a boat parade with lights and stuff, which was cool. But when I was there last, all they had was the Tree of Life lit up, and then all of a sudden some music starts. And
I remember you telling me about this. Yes.
And it'll kind of highlight one of the animals, and they'll tell a little story with projections on the TV in that one particular animal. Really cool. Really cool what they've done. It
makes sense to me in my brain that they would not do something like that with big explosions in the nighttime to be there for the animals. But I never really have thought about why there wasn't something there and the reasoning behind it. That is so brilliant. Way to go, Disney. Another reason why my love for Disney just increased just a little bit more. Because I love that they are thinking about the animals in that way. So I've learned something today too. Thanks, Bradley Minigan, sir.
Yeah. And then over at Epcot, we've still got the International Festival of the Holidays, representing holidays across the world that happen, especially in the wintertime, is usually when different cultures have different festivities that aren't all related to Christmas. Then something that's fun, we've talked about Run Disney a little bit in our earlier episodes. Run Disney, which has been operating virtually only for the last year, will be returning to the Disney properties this fall. So you'll have the shorter races, you'll have half marathons and marathons and kids races, all that happening starting this fall. Believe RunDisney.com is the website to go if you're a runner and your family wants to take a trip down to Walt Disney World. Maybe go run an event there. It's really flat, which is really awesome because you don't have to run uphill. So check that out. Chris, you were telling me that What If premieres in just a couple weeks. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've got a couple of things on the premiere front that are going on. Specifically, we're at the end of July, so thinking forward just a few days to August now, and to think about a few things. We mentioned earlier, Cruella on the 27th of August is going off premiere access and just being able to watch there. What If, now that we have wrapped up our first 3 Marvel series, which is WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki, to tide us over until, I think we've got another live action movie that is coming in September. But until then, we've got What If that's premiering this August, which it should be fun. So it's what if some of these famous stories or characters that you know about in the Marvel universe happen differently? And so just like it's going to be exciting to just see what they do with it, because they're always so clever, specifically Disney Plus, but even more specifically in Marvel right now. I've just come off, again, the third series with Loki, and I'm just loving every time I'm watching a second of Marvel footage. So I love what Marvel's doing, love what Disney Plus is doing with that Marvel brand, being kind of the parent company over all of it. So pumped about that. Also, on the Star Wars front, The Bad Batch, which is one of the TV shows that my son really likes, and may do some sort of on the digest or a quick review here on the show, talking about The Bad Batch. That ends this year, or I'm sorry, next month. And then there's several different things. Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2 and 3, as well as a new Cesar Millan documentary where, Cesar Millan, famous animal, or specifically dog trainer. Yeah. He's got another one coming, and then Cruella going off for premiere access. There's going to be a lot of stuff for the dogs coming up. Turner and Hooch, there's a new live action series, Turner and Hooch, that's coming this season or this year. And again, I know we've talked about that maybe in our last Newswire. Everything used to premiere on Fridays. Right now, some of the movies still premiere on Disney Plus on Fridays, but all of the TV shows have moved now back a couple of days to Wednesday premiere dates. And then I think sometime this fall, the movies as well will move to a Friday or a Wednesday. So everything will premiere middle of the week. So then we can have, if we're sitting around hump day, not anything to do, there's going to be something premiering all the time on Wednesdays at Disney Plus.
Awesome. Well, I know I saw Turner and Hooch, the first episode released this last Wednesday. And going back to Marvel movies, Shang-Chi is set to release in September.
That's it.
Eternals in December, and looks like Spider-Man No Way Home in December as well. So we got some Marvel coming up, all kicked off with Black Widow just a couple weeks ago. So glad to have some more Marvel movies to consume. You spoke about what if Epcot Forever wasn't forever? Well, they would probably end it, right before the 50th anniversary and put in something else, which is what's happening.
No, it's not forever.
Yeah, Epcot Forever is not so much forever. It's Epcot until we decide to change it up. So Harmonious will be in Epcot, and this, like I said, this is debuting for the 50th anniversary celebration on October 1st. At the same time, Happily Ever After is happily until, again, we decide to change our minds. And so that is going to be replaced over at the Magic Kingdom as well. You'll get new fireworks shows. I don't generally stop and watch the fireworks shows.
That's my next question for you. Yeah.
But I do love watching fireworks. So I'm not always paying attention to the projections. I'm usually walking around trying to get to Space Mountain, or Splash Mountain is fun. If you can go down that drop as fireworks are going off in the background, it's very pretty cool. Sweet. Big Thunder Mountain is great when fireworks are going off. So all those things. Hop on Dumbo. Heck, that going off.
See, I wanted to ask you about that because I feel like that I am a bad Disney fan because, again, kind of what you were saying a minute ago, I typically do not stop and watch the fireworks shows, although I appreciate them and I love fireworks in general. It just wasn't one of those things that I build my vacation around. Like I have to see all of the shows, which again, maybe is why it didn't immediately come to mind that the Animal Kingdom doesn't even have an evening spectacular fireworks show like Epcot, Hollywood Studios has had for years, and Magic Kingdom especially. But just curious as to what your passion was for watching the shows. But I guess that was a bit of that answer there. And I feel like that I should be, because I feel like those hardcore Disney fans are. It's just I'm usually trying to get to the buses before everybody else does that's watching the show, or trying to get in a few more rides, kind of what you're mentioning. But hearing some of the Twitter reactions of some of these two particular shows leaving and being replaced for the 50th anniversary, I can see why it would be hurtful to some people, but I even read something like Disney should be ashamed of itself for switching up the shows. And so passionate fan base out there for the nighttime shows.
Yeah, no kidding. I think the last time I stopped and really watched an entire show was our first trip together, because we were there for your kids. They wanted to see the fireworks show, wanted to have that quintessential Disney experience, seeing the fireworks. And then y'all bolted and you came back and met up with the rest of us for a long night in the Magic Kingdom.
Night. Yeah. I think that was my last fireworks show as well. That night over 10 years ago.
But since then, I'm going to take advantage of short lines. I'm going to take advantage of being able to ride the rides and see the fireworks at the same time, because for a lot, especially the outdoor queues, I can still see the fireworks. That's enough for me. I don't have to have that perfect spot on Main Street to view the fireworks.
Sure.
So a lot of news over this last month, a lot of things for Disney's 50th, a lot of things for Marvel, for the movies, for Disney Plus, just a lot going on, Chris.
Yeah. Again, it feels like that we could do one of these newswires every week if we really wanted to, because there is so much that changes here and there. We really do have to pick and choose what we end up talking about when we're trying to consolidate things down into a 30-day time period that we're looking at news for. But man, it just keeps me excited, keeps me coming back every day, because there's always something new to discover, whether it be in the parks, and even for us, having been over, a year plus being in the parks, closing in on 2 years now, that it's still, there's a lot of energy for me around the parks, because I can mentally put myself there, even if I haven't seen it in person since the pandemic. But man, I'm jonesing to get back and experience some fun park action.
Right. Well, if you do want a little something every day, let's head to Plussing for a little tweak on our Plussing segment for Newswires. So for Newswires, what Plussing is going to do is it's going to highlight another content provider. Should we call them that? Whether it be another blog, another YouTube channel, another podcast, whatever it may be, somebody who we look to for some information, but also we just enjoy their content. And this week or this month, it's the TheTimTracker over on YouTube. Tim started, 11, 12 years ago, just doing, they're funny, they're stupid, just daily videos. I think just to keep up with family, and keep them in the loop of what's going on. But now his wife and their young son, who's about the same age as my son, they do a lot around the Orlando area. They're going to the parks. They're going to the Universal parks. They're doing different things around town, around their home, and just kind of showing you what they use at home, what they enjoy, what they're making for dinner. So the TheTimTracker on YouTube, they also have a podcast. They've got just a few episodes, but they just pick a topic and ramble. I think what I love most about TimTracker is his love for a Casey's Corner hot dog. That is a man near and dear to my heart right there. So go check them out. Chris, I know you've enjoyed their videos as well.
Yeah, TimTracker has been one of those mainstays for me, especially during the pandemic, because they visited several times as things were opening up, right before things closed. And so they have a lot of videos up there where they're fully masked and experiencing the parks in that way. But it was the only way for me to experience the parks for a long time, whereas to be some of these people that I subscribe to and watch on a regular basis. So the TimTracker really got me through those times where I didn't know what the future of going to parks would even look like, this time last year, that time frame primarily. But man, I love it. I love how lighthearted it is, but informative as well. So I love that we're kicking off these news wires that once a month we will highlight in our Plussing segments, people that we are getting some of the news from, that we enjoy learning from, and especially being two dudes in the Nashville area, not able to make it down to Orlando or to Anaheim as much as we would like to, it's nice to live vicariously through people like the TimTracker. And hundreds of thousands of subscribers can't be wrong. So if you have not heard about the TimTracker, go follow them, because they have 700 plus thousand subscribers. So there's a lot of folks watching them, and it seems like just a dream to be able to live in the Orlando area, and primarily your gig is to show others inside the parks and all the things that you like. They live in the area, but they'll still go stay at some of the local on-site hotels around the Disney parks and stuff. So love the TimTracker.
They just stayed at the Grand Floridian recently.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I may have to sell my house just to stay there for 2 nights, but worth it. It will be worth it. So go check that out. We'll put a link down in the YouTube description. We'll put a link in our show notes to get to their channel to check out those videos. So be sure to check that out. And yeah, next month we'll have another Disney content creator to share with you. If you've got one that you really like, send it to us. podcast@themouseandmen.com, or message us through any of the social media our social media profiles. You can find links to all of those over at themouseandmen.com, where you can also get our top 10 things for grown-ups to do at Walt Disney World. As always, you can also find our YouTube channel where we broadcast the podcast. Chris, that was a lot. That was a lot for July.
Another monthly Newswire down, but I feel like we were just scratching the surface. So stay tuned for more Newswires from us. Stay tuned to people like the TimTracker, because there's always new stuff to learn. And again, Disney being such a large organization, even for our focus of being like having adult themed fun or grown up fun for what you can do around Disney, even with that, still so much to cover. Again, we could do these every week if we wanted to, but I'm so glad that we do these Newswires once a month.
Yeah. And even as we look at the grown up side of Disney, you don't want to grow up too fast.
But you got to keep exploring.